Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wednesday here on the Pagan Perspective. I'm your host, Eric. This week we are talking about where to draw the line. So this week we are talking about where to draw the line, lines in the sand. Where do you stop? Where do you... that's too much. I am going to give you two warnings. One, this is probably going to be a really long video. And two, I am going to be rather abrupt, maybe even abrasive in this, because I really do have some strong opinions here. I'm going to leave all the information that I've got here in the notes below. And let's go ahead and get started. This week comes from Arrow Heart, and our opinions this week are, what are our opinions on? There are many beliefs and practices in the pagan umbrella, but where would you draw the line? This is a discussion from a website that I frequent. Many points have been brought up, such as human sacrifice, animal sacrifice, bloodletting, suicide, group suicide, homicide, things that go against physics, what you call yourself, examples of Druid versus Neo-Druid, Wicca without initiation, etc., and dictation of people's beliefs to an extent. Question 2. Do we have a right to dictate other people's beliefs, even if based upon their conditioning, area of life, country, and morals? All pagans have common ground. To you, what is the common ground, and how would it change if we decided it was okay to tell people what to believe? What would you decide is wrong for a person if... the third question is, what would you decide is wrong for a person to believe in a first world society? And fourth, do you believe what you call yourself should be based off of initiation or historical fact? Then he goes on to say, I'm really interested in hearing about what you all have to say about this. If you'd like, consider historical fact in your answers, like I know how quite a few ancient pagan religions used to believe it okay to sacrifice blood, or anything else you know of. So, let's just start at the very, very top. So, sacrifice, human sacrifice and animal sacrifice. I believe that the sacrificing of actual life is unnecessary and far more barbaric than I am willing to participate in. Now, I understand that this is a historical thing that every 9 years in Uppsala they would kill 9 of everything. They would kill 9 men, 9 horses, 9 pigs, 9 goats, 9 sheep, 9 dogs, and they would hang them in effigy. That is something that was part of their culture. And I realize that part of our culture is trying to get back at, when I say part of our culture, I mean part of the culture of humanity today, not part of the pagan culture. But that part of the pagan culture is part of humanity. That's not the point. I'm getting off on a tangent. Part of our society is trying to go back to the old ways. I get that. I personally feel, this is my opinion, that going back to the sacrificing of life is a ridiculous premise because it is unnecessary. Not only is it unnecessary, but unhelpful. Back in the day, they would be honored by the idea of being one of the ones chosen for sacrifice at the Uppsala moot. I don't know what the actual word they used for it was, but that was something they would be honored for, because they knew that it would bring prosperity, or at least they hoped it would bring prosperity for their clan. That is something that is outside of societal acceptance to me. I don't feel that we need to participate in that sort of behavior anymore. When it comes to animal sacrifice, I am a city boy and I don't kill my own meat. I just don't. I go to the store and I buy it. And yes, that makes me kind of a hypocrite. Too damn bad. Because I am a lazy turd also. I don't want to have to go hunt my food. It is not required of me in society anymore. So I don't. Which means I also have absolutely no skill in killing and butchering an animal. If you and your social circles have skill and ability in killing and butchering animals, and that's part of your world, then I don't think I would have too much of a problem with it. I personally couldn't deal with that. But if part of your society is to hunt and kill and butcher and prepare your own meat in whatever way you do so, if you decide that 1 out of every 9 animals goes to the gods, and you kill it and sacrifice it, and you don't eat it, and you don't consume it, and it goes to the gods, that's on you, and that's awesome. I am a little jealous that you can do that, if you can do that. But don't be one of those people, and this is another opinion. My opinion on the idea is, if you do not have the skill and the ability, and it is not part of your culture, why are you going out of your way to be something you're not? If you then go out and learn to hunt and kill and butcher your own animals in the most humane possible way that is available to you, and you decide that now that is part of your world, that you can start to sacrifice animals that you have killed with intent to feed your family and yourself, okay, sure, that's part of you now, right on. But and I have heard rumors, and these rumors are obviously third or fourth hand experience accounts, that there are groups that have gone out and bought animals to sacrifice in ritual and have mucked it up, and the poor animal suffers for way longer than it needs to, and they kind of disrupt their ritual anyway. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. And if you do know what you're doing, and you decide that you want to, and you decide that this is something you absolutely have to at least try, just make sure you can do it effectively. And, humanely is a good word. As for human bloodletting, I am not a fan, and I do not approve personally. I mean, I'm not going to say that you can't do it with your own blood. If you decide to bloodlet somebody else without their permission, and without their express permission, that makes you a douche. That's my opinion. So, when it comes to human bloodletting, if you decide you want to do it for yourself, okay. Outside of that, medical purposes only for me. So, that's that. Suicide, or group suicide, or homicide. Homicide, in my opinion, is only justifiable in one instance, and that is when someone is trying to kill you. If someone is trying to kill you, you feel free to go ahead and try and kill them right back. Outside of that, you're not doing it right. There has to be another way than killing someone. That is kind of lazy. As it happens, I also believe that suicide is a lazy way out too, because I'm so tired, I'm so depressed, you know what, life sucks, and you deal with it. And I have contemplated the idea of offing myself many times over the years, and I never do. And I never did, and I never have, obviously because I am still here. I've never attempted it, I guess I can say that. I've never attempted it because I have come to the realization that the world as a whole may see no difference without me, but my family and my friends and the people who actually interact with me would be poorer, whether I think they would or not. They would miss me. They would have to go through the process of maybe thinking it was even their fault, or thinking that they should have done more. And it sucks to think that they would have to go through that simply because I wanted to take the pussy way out. Don't kill yourself. It's just not worth what you think you'll get out of it. Again, my opinion. Excuse me. Things that go against physics. I have never run across any. I have attempted things that go against physics, which never happened. If you can effectively break the laws of physics, I'm assuming it probably wasn't a law of physics. It was probably something closer to an idea of what it actually is. But if you can do that, good on you, but you have to deal with the repercussions. The next part was, what do you call yourself? Well, I call myself a heathen or a pagan, simply because I want to I want to be less ambiguous about the fact that in my spiritual life, I am non-Abrahamic, or not specifically Abrahamic. And the only reason I use that is because it makes people understand, oh, so you're not Christian? No, not strictly, no. And then there can be a conversation. We want to label and we want to categorize as human beings, but I think other than the fact that there are certain groups that you must actually be initiated into, and groups that you have to do your year in a day, and you have to go through this ceremony, and you have to do this dedication, and you have to... If that's the case, I don't think you should call yourself specifically that unless you've gone through that process. Like people who want to call themselves Gardnerian Wiccans without doing the dedication to the Gardnerian path or whatever should have to, add other things. So those of us who know one thing from another, which I am not one of those people, can go, oh, okay, so you have done your dedication, which means you've learned this, and you've learned this, and you've learned this. I'm not one of those people who knows, so whatever you call yourself is going to be fine with me. But that kind of falls into the idea of dictation of people's beliefs to an extent. So that comes into, do we have the right to dictate other people's beliefs, even based upon their conditioning, area of life, country, morals, blah? There are only two times when I believe you can... There are only two times that I believe that you should dictate someone else's belief. One is when their belief oppresses someone else. Then you should be able to say, you can't do that. And they should say, why can't I do that? Because this is my right as a human being to make other people feel terrible and, make myself a better person. Well, those two ideas kind of conflict, but that's not the point. Then you should be able to say, look, what you believe leads into what you practice, and what you are practicing is making the world worse. Maybe you ought to stop. I think you should stop. I think this belief is skewing your perception and making you feel that this practice is justified, when socially, humanitarianly, egalitarianly, anyway, it's not okay. Then you might be able to justify dictating someone's belief. The other time I believe, and again, another opinion, the other time I believe that you can dictate someone's belief is if they have joined your group. If you have a group that is established, and you have decided this is what we believe, this is what we think, and this is how we practice, and the person who joins believes the same way you do, thinks the same way you do, and practices the same way you do, and that's a requirement of being part of this group, if they don't believe the same way you do, I think you have every right to say, look, you either believe this way or you go away. And then congratulations, you've had your first schism, and yay, you're a real group almost. But those are the only two times when inappropriate beliefs lead to inappropriate behaviors. I think that is one area where you can say, you're looking at it all wrong. And the other time is when you have an established group that is based on belief, and you can kick people out. If you have a group of your own and somebody else decides to come in and join your group, and then they say, well, that's not what I believe, and then you go, well, that's what we believe as a group, as a troth, as a whatever. So if you're not going to believe this, we need to have a parting of ways. And you can do that however you want, amicably or forcibly or whatever. But those are the two times when it's okay to dictate someone's beliefs. Next we go to all pagans have common ground. To you, what is the common ground, and how would it change if we decided it was okay to tell people what to believe? I think the common ground of most pagans is the desire to allow everyone to believe what they want to believe and not to be dictated by others what to believe. That is my opinion as to the common ground of all pagans, because we don't want to be oppressed. We want to be recognized as people who believe independently. So, would it change if we decided it was okay to tell people what to believe? I don't think those two things can coincide at all. I just don't. So next, what would you decide is wrong for a person to believe in a first world society? This is a really simple answer for me that goes way, way deeper into a much longer conversation that we're not going to have today. But I believe, what would you decide is wrong for a person to believe in a first world society? Unfortunately, it is something that happens already. I believe that it is... I believe that it is wrong to believe that it is okay to elevate yourself by the repression and belittlement of others. It's that simple. If you're getting ahead by crushing everyone else around you, and you think that's okay, I think you need to have your mind changed. That's what I think. So moving on to the last little part. Do you believe what you call yourself should be based off initiation or historical fact? Well, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. I believe what you call yourself should be an identifier that disambiguates your belief to others, or at least what you are and what you believe yourself to be and how you practice. When I tell people that I am a heathen or a pagan, I am trying to state, well, I have a love for the Norse gods. I am not strictly Abrahamic. I am not strictly Christian. I also believe that, and I try to go into a conversation about it as opposed to just using a label, because labels are helpful in the beginning of a conversation. But the conversation is the important part. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to post those in the comment section below. But that is it for me this week. I appreciate you guys sticking with me this long, but thank you for watching, and of course, until next time, Odin be with you.